Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about that in terms of why you wrote that?
Yeah, so I wrote Like Million Black Butterflies, which is inspired by a quote of Toni Morrison's. In her novel God Help the Child, she described an afro of a black woman as a million of black butterflies. And so a French publisher came to me asking me like if from this little quote I could imagine a story around it. And I knew very well this quote, and I loved Toni Morrison's works. It really shaped my journey as a writer. And so yeah, I tried. And so I remembered that when I was a child, like someone from my school mocked my hair, and when I said to my mother that I didn't like my braids and that I wanted her to untie my braids, my mother said no. My mother said no because she told me that I had to accept me as I am, and I wanted to go from there and to create like a tale about it, and this is how Ade was born. Actually, this was the start. I started to do this book about a little black girl mocked for her hair, and how she finds support with her mother and her aunts and her other black friends, and especially how through poetry she was challenging the question of self-esteem, etc., etc., etc. So.
Okay. So that means I'm really okay with a man hurting me. It's like I always use this analogy, like, okay, what they say, oh, you're showing everything, right? Okay, so I'm here, I'm hungry and stuff, and you come with a plate of food, and then you sit down, and I look at you, and I just push my hand in your food and start eating it. If you do that to anyone, like if you walk into a restaurant today, that is war. That is war over a plate of food, okay? But you can go and push your hand, right, all upon a woman's body, hurt her, just because you can see her body. And you're talking about, physical urges, and when they see they can't control themselves. To me, hunger is one of the greatest physical urges, right? That's life or death kind of thing. And for you, a hungry person to push their hand in someone's plate of food is considered the heights of disrespect. No one under any culture would accept that behavior. So why is it that we're, she was singing, we could have said a thing, so we just, clearly she wanted people. So because I came there, I sitting on the road with a beautiful plate of food, I want everyone to come and access my plate of food because you can see it. So,
there you go.
Woo!
There you go, I told you.
Wow. I was on a wall, my face was on a wall in Digbeth, mad. Part of Black History Month in October. And this is how life is amazing because it's full circle. Alia is a young lady who was one of the curators for this mural that happened in Digbeth. And Alia is an ex-student of the school that I used to teach in. And Alia nominated me as one of Birmingham's future black stars, somebody who's had an impact in education, and I was nominated to be put on this wall by Alia. And I had last seen Alia at school and then bumped into her at the Impact Hub a few years ago, and we reconnected because she was always a special student to me. I didn't directly teach her, but we'd always interact on the corridors, and sometimes she'd pass by my classroom and just say, I'll go on, Miss, and da-da-da. So for her then, in some 6 years later, to be a curator of this exhibition and to nominate me because she remembered some of the work that I had done and how much of an impact I'd had, to see my face on this building, on this wall being blown up, was really, really humbling, and it was really overwhelming and very, just very nice. It's lovely to be recognised for the work that I do, because some of the things that I do are quite insular. I'm in this building, I'm in this nursery, I'm doing what I'm doing, but sometimes I forget how much that ripples out and how much people take note. And it was similar to kind of even meeting you when I'd met you, and you introduced yourself to me and I introduced myself to you, and you said, yeah, I know who you are. It was like, oh wow, because sometimes you just forget that what you're doing as I said, it has a ripple effect. So being on this, I think it's a semi-permanent mural, being there in Birmingham, in the city that I was born in, and being recognised for the work that I've done meant the world to me. That was a highlight of 2019, big highlight.
What are some core things that need to be done in order to change this attitude? Because it's ridiculous.
The media, they are a large part of the problem because they are the ones who are reinscribing the images. I go to Haiti, and the first thing that strikes me is a middle class product being advertised, black man, black woman. You don't have this black man, light skinned woman thing. And I think this is something that one of the issues too is that they might have the black man with the light skinned woman as a trophy wife. But many of them are going at night to look for the black women. So, but the black women are not good enough to be the marriage partners. They are the outside women, And so I think as a society we need to look again at what it is that we value. Why is race such an important issue in our society? We don't like to talk about it. And people just say they just happen to fall in love with this kind of person. But why is it that black men don't want anybody who looks like them? That is the issue. So it's a socialization of the black man too. That's part of the problem, to see the light-skinned woman as just ideal. I remember one of my friends saying that when he was in high school, he didn't even see black girls. He just didn't see them from your black men don't see you. And it's not because he was evil or so, but they were just outside of his sphere of interest.
Programming.
Why? Because of the programming set in the media and in the home, because no matter how you try to tell the children in the home that they are beautiful, the black women, when they go in the road, they're getting different images.
And last but not least, it's my mommy. So my mom is so important to me. She is my biggest supporter. She worries a lot. She's a Gemini. So that is only her weakness, that she will always be so worried about me and the type of work that I do. So at this point, I usually just let it happen and then tell her after. So I'll be like, oh, mommy, well, I fell into a cactus today. I don't call her and tell her, but I'll just randomly message her and mention it at home. After my dad died in 2012, it was really, really tough for us. And going to UE was her way, because I could have done the first year in Antigua, but going to UE was her way of making sure that I could have a fresh start and that I could feel like I could still go on. And she is my biggest supporter. I love her so much. And you can see that we look like each other here. I don't usually see it, but this is a really good picture.
Okay, the last question.
I was interested in doing bobsleigh. So Kaylee Humphreys had actually messaged me, and her and Stu McMillan is her coach. And so Stu obviously is in the track world, and they had been kind of looking at me and thinking that I could be good at it. And so that's kind of what sparked the initial, like, is this something that I want to do? But at first I was kind of like, I don't think so, But I don't know, to me, I've always been someone that just like is willing to take a risk and try something new. And track was going well because, like I said, like I made the final in 2016 again. But it also was in some ways feeling a little bit mundane because I've been running for a really, really long time. And so to me, that year was really about like taking a break, and because I'm like, okay, I do want to do 2020 and I want to excel at 2020. So it was like taking a step back so that I could kind of like refresh myself. And yeah, so like I went out, we went down the bobsleigh track just to make sure I didn't hate it. And yeah, I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's see. Let's see where this goes.
And obviously, what was the outcome of that?
Yeah, no, like, I mean, it was a grind, but like, I slowly worked my way up to becoming like the number one push athlete on the team, which literally I moved out to Calgary in September, and then the Winter Olympics was in February. So like 6 months time, like first time pushing a bobsled. But yeah, making the Winter Olympic team and then winning a bronze medal, which was huge. Yeah, like it's crazy like to think about like, doing that. But I think, like I said, taking the step back, it really gave me a really good perspective. And it actually made me really excited to come back to track as well. So.
I kid you not, he came out of jail and I'm like, yo, my man's looking like a painting. And my sister said, right, he kind of looks like a dad. And I was like, fam, you see it too. This is odd. And now I can't join in on the Buju's like a hot spice now because I just feel conflicted. I think about his voice, how beautiful his voice is. I watched it like on stage television, a Jamaican TV show. They did like a whole hour documentary on him, and I did not know how talented and versatile he was as a reggae artist and then a dancehall artist. I think of how much he means to my mum. I remember as a kid, my mum had one of his CDs, and I used to play with it. My mum loves Buju. She loves Buju. I said to my mum, "Oh, mum, Buju's coming. Buju's gonna do a concert." She's like, "When?" I said, "Well, I don't know. He's coming to the UK." But I said, "Mum, when he does his concert, what are you saying?" My mum said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go. You just watch the kids." I said, "Hello." I said, "Karen." I said, "Karen." I said, "Karen, watch. Listen. Don't be scared when you're in the concert and you see me." Listen, I said, "Don't be scared when you're in the concert and you see me standing a few people away from you, okay? About how I'm gonna watch your kids while we can go together, okay?" That's what I said to her. I think about how much he means to not just that Jamaica, but to the black community. How peaceful he is. How I would love to have a conversation with him. I'm like, who am I to have a conversation with him? But I'd love to have a conversation with him, just reason with him.
Need to really know what you want to do in terms of where are you going to sit within the market. First of all, are you going to be female, male, or and etc. And also, what is your selling point? Let's say. So some people will say it will be luxury fabric, and other people will say it will be simple fabric. I actually prefer simple fabric because again, that dress was a simple fabric made beautifully. But really learn. There's a lot of information online. There's a lot of things online, and be brave. Don't hesitate to ask. Don't hesitate to try. Don't hesitate to cut. You're gonna make mistake, and if you make mistake, it doesn't matter because you can only improve by making mistakes or by trying the first time. I've made a lot of mistakes before, and I still make mistakes to these days. So don't be afraid of making a mistake, but you need to try, and you need to try and improve your skills every single time. Don't stick to what you know. So if today you've learned how to do a zip, that's fine. Tomorrow you need to go and learn something else, so then you can broaden your skills every single time. That's what I would say.
For now, St. Joseph Convent, my alma mater. The makings of me. I'm indebted to all the wonderful women who give their life to service as nuns. It's certainly something that I couldn't do. And they have tirelessly just contributed so well to the education of young women in Grenada. And I think the school should be given an award. It's a seriously good school. A friend actually made a joke. We just learned that one of my colleagues had been appointed as, or former classmates had been appointed as Solicitor General, and he said, "Did everybody go to the same school? Is there only one great school in Grenada?" I said, "No, there are lots of great schools, but ours was the greatest."
Yeah, they travelled. My great-grandparents in the 1900s, they travelled all over the Caribbean. They left Jamaica, they went to Panama, I think that's when the Panama Canal was built. They went to Costa Rica. They settled in Cuba where they had a few of their other children. They had shops there. They had linen shops, sold a lot of white bed sheets, cotton linen, cotton fabrics and linen, embroidery cottons. And then they came back to Jamaica and they bought the land in Jamaica and, settled. So she and my great-grandfather was Maroon, but my great-grandmother was half Syrian. And they always instilled in me that you must never be fearful. Fear is not something that's on her agenda whatsoever. In fact, if she finds out you're fearful of something, she really rubs it into you, good and proper. You must never be fearful, because you have to triumph above everything. And so I never had any qualms about going to live in Oman.
The other thing that happened while I was in grad school, my father passed away. And my father was someone who had a business in Antigua. He did a lot of work here. And so I spent a lot of time in Antigua after his death, just trying to help, sort out his affairs, etc. And it was at a crucial time in my graduate career. I was preparing for my comprehensive exams. And it was a real turning point for me because, you know, that tragic time actually, because it forced me to spend so much time in Antigua, it also made me realize that a good portion of the questions I had been asking about, you know, what is blackness? What does it mean to be free? You know, how did we get here? Where are we going? Had always been underlined by my understanding of myself as a child of Antiguans and as somehow, not technically, but once removed, a daughter of the soil. And that, to me, was what set me on the path to then marrying all of my intellectual questions with focus on Antigua and trying to ask, well, what did freedom look like here? And what does it mean to render all of these big questions in a very small setting like this?
Oh, good people. Charlene White. She made a beeline for me and introduced herself to me and took me out to a members club that she's a member of, and that she was me and a few other black people that worked within the company who she knew. And her sole goal for that was to introduce us to each other, to kind of form, I suppose, a power network, a power base. So there's not many of us here. So the few of us that are here, we need to know who's here and link up and feel like, if worst case, everyone else isn't really on our level or on our wavelength, we've at least got, oh, there's Leroy over there, or there's Sinead over there, or there's so-and-so over there, and I can talk to that person and they can relate. And she didn't have to do that, but she did that because she understood the importance of having a community within a workforce, even if it's just 3 or 4 people. And for that, I loved her for doing that. We talk anywhere, you know, we're good pals, she's good people, but she's very good at linking up people. And for that, I think I've got a lot of time for her because she understands the power of being one as opposed to fragmented.
Normally I'm not meant to say anything, but I know it sounds very, very sad, but whenever I see her on TV, I feel particularly proud. I don't know her.
No, I agree.
I feel this is not, well, how do you say it? I'm not brown nosing here. But even yourself, when I see you on TV, I feel particularly proud because
Good.
You don't see that all the time.
You don't.
And
you don't.
I feel particularly proud because you're not just there, you're doing it properly.
Yeah.
And you're representing people properly. So especially her, because she's been on TV
She's
for
an
a
anchor.
while.
She's a news anchor.
Yeah,
One thing being a reporter, she's a news
TV.
anchor on national TV. That is not. That's hard to do if you're white.
Yes, exactly.
That's hard to do if you're white.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So if being black and from where she's from, I think she's from Lucian, Catford. Come on, she's killing it, man. She's killing it.
Yeah.
Next one?
Yeah, next one.
I think it's raising awareness is the key, and getting out to schools. And I do a lot of mentorship work, and I do a lot of inspirational talks, and recently was involved in putting together an open day at Bristol University. It was in collaboration with the Department of Engineering, and basically we opened it up to children from inner city schools to come and see what's possible. And I went along and talked with orthopedics and took orthopedic equipment and got them to come and practice putting in a hip replacement in a sawbone and that sort of thing. So it's just let them know that career is out there, that it's an option. And then within orthopedics, there's so many different subspecialties. Like for instance, on one of the, and I went another open day for young girls via the Letter Foundation. And I was speaking to a young lady there, and I asked her what she wanted to do. She said she wanted to be a midwife. And I said, oh, that's great. Why do you want to be a midwife? She said, oh, because I want to look after babies. And I said, well, why not, be a neonatologist? Why not be a pediatrician, whatever? But those are things she had never considered because she didn't know about them. Mm-hmm. So because she liked treating children, she just immediately thought of midwife. And there's nothing wrong with being a midwife, but what we need to do is to expose them to what other things they could do for whatever particular desire that they have. So it's about raising awareness.
But one thing I admired with her, she was always telling us a story of how, as a young girl of 18, she decided that the poor black children should go to have an education. Because in those days, you're poor and you're black, you couldn't go to the Anglican high school and the grammar school and so on that easily. And so she set up this school not only for the black children, but also for the Syrians who were there. And it was a school that taught a lot of civic pride and taught us how to be good women and men. Let me put it that way. I enjoyed my school days, even though I found that there was more I wanted to do at home that was being done in school. But I still enjoyed it, and it was one of the top schools, private schools in Antigua.
Ah, Beryl. Beryl Gilroy, we were very, very fond of Beryl. Beryl was kind of treated, I mean, she became a kind of surrogate mother. She used to, I mean, to some extent, I mean, I think her kind of writing had got a bit Hyman had done a couple of things, but there were other books that she'd written where, and I think she was right to feel that she'd been squeezed out of things as a woman in that kind of period, that people hadn't taken her really sufficiently seriously. She talked about the people who were involved with BBC Carry. It was a boys' club. And I remember she was good friends, for instance, with Sylvia Winton. She talked how they used to go dancing together and all that kind of stuff. So, but Beryl was somebody, she used to ring up very regularly, and she'd kind of give you advice and kind of find out what was going on and talk. Then she had this habit that when she decided she'd had enough, she'd say, right, come back. And the phone would come down. What? but she, we were very, very, very sad when Beryl died, because she was somebody who didn't meet her that often much of in the flesh, but she was a constant presence on the phone, and a lovely lady.
I mean, I'm happy to know about French culture. It's a rich culture. I'm happy to read about that, but I'm so happy to know more about mine. So happy to know more about African. So happy to learn about the entire world. Nothing can stop me from, being who I am, because I feel like every time I go somewhere and I talk about myself, I'm proud. I'm not, saying, I'm come from a country and everything, but I would love to be Indian, or I would love to be American, or I would live. No, I am from Martinique, and I cannot change that, and I love it. And if you come and if you want to know more about me, come on. You see what I mean? Because I'm proud of who I am. I have something strong. I have something, in my country is very small, and there's many people who did many big things. Like writers, you're talking about Glisson, there's also Aimé Césaire, but there's Gisèle Pineau also that you're talking about, and a lot of other people. When I go home, I'm always surprised by creativity of, all the painters in arts, like in theater, cinema now, but the problem is that we don't have a lot of money, so we cannot do, big things in cinema right now, because people don't understand now that it can be interesting to help, those who make cinema. It will come, little by little. So we're growing. But after what we had, all these years, it's not too, we've been slaves more than after slave, okay? And we already did so many big things. So we have to be proud of us. We shouldn't lose what we're having, because we're rich. We're having a lot of things, and a lot of things to share with the entire world. And I don't want anymore to go to a place where when they know that it's Kassab, they're saying, oh yes, they're French. They put an Eiffel Tower for us, as decor on stage. We told them to take it off. Because, it's not, it's Paris, but we're not from Paris. We're coming from Martinique. We're French, maybe, on a passport, you see what I mean? But when you're talking about Martinique has got a story. This story is different to Parisian story.